Okay, so low volume board water starts. They are difficult to learn, they can be frustrating at times. I've done a video on it quite a while ago, but I thought it was time to do an updated one, seeing as I've got a nice harness cam that gives me some good video angles. So board size, volume, shape makes a big difference. I've found that for my weight of 82 kilograms, 45 litres or maybe 40 litres at the very least. Otherwise, I find it incredibly difficult to get on foil. It requires far too much effort. Here I'm using a 55. It's the Axis Froth 55, which is only 4.6. It's the best all-purpose wing foiling board I've ever used. The shape is amazing, the size is perfect for me, and I can get up in super light winds, and it also feels nice and small and manoeuvrable in high winds. So let's have a look at a start in slow motion. First of all, position the wing downwind of the board and the board parallel to the swell, and then lever yourself up. Personally, I lever myself up onto my stomach and chest and then up onto my knees. Immediately with my hand that's closest to the wing, I place my hand on the leading edge to give me support and balance. My other hand can stay on the nose of the board until I'm ready to transfer it to the leading edge handle, and then pausing to get stability, I then lift it as high over my head as I can in one swift movement, transferring my hand to the other handle. Then swap my hands over and immediately sheet in with my back hand to gain power in the wing, which gives you stability. Then pump to get the board to the surface of the water. Keep pumping to do this. I pump gently until I feel a gust, and then I can either go for it, putting my front foot up, and then when there's enough power, standing up. From that point, it's a case of pumping the wing and or the board, depending on what type of foil you've got. High aspect foils generally prefer pumping the wing only, whereas mid to low aspect foils usually like the board pumping as well. So let's have a look at each individual component in turn. First of all, put the wing downwind of the board and the board parallel to the swell. It doesn't really matter which side of the board you are. It's a good idea at this stage to check your board leash and your wing leash are in the right position so they don't get in the way for the next stage. Next, I pull myself up onto the board, and you can stay here for a little while in this position to make sure that there's no swell about to knock you off, but then fairly quickly just push myself up onto my knees, and at this point it's really important to stabilize yourself as quick as possible, and to do that, one hand goes on top of the leading edge of the wing to give you sideways stabilization, and the other hand I keep on the nose of my board, especially important with short boards to make sure that the nose doesn't go down or up, which could also push you off balance. Next, it's really important to get the wing over your head as quick as possible. So I transfer my hand from the nose of the board onto the leading edge handle, and as I move the wing above my head, I move the hand that was on top of the leading edge to the front handle of the wing. And it's really important to do this as quick as possible because that's when you're least stable. From there, it's really important to move your back hand to the rear handle and sheet in as quick as you can. That'll get a bit of wind in the wing and stabilize you. Then, super quick, just move your front hand to the front handle, and then you can start pumping. That will stabilize you even more, but also it will help to bring the board to the surface of the water. Now, I know some people like to stand up while the board is still underwater, but I've found that it's so much harder and takes so much more effort to pump the wing to get the board to the surface of the water when you're stood on it. If you're kneeling on it, it seems to be much easier to pump the wing and get the board up to the surface of the water. As soon as I've done that, then I get my front foot up into place, and then it could be with the next pump of the wing, I use that to help me stand up, or maybe even a few more pumps of the wing to wait for a gust to fully stand up. And at that point, it's just a matter of pumping the wing and possibly the board as well to get up onto foil. With high aspect foils, I tend to find that pumping the wing alone and maybe just little gentle bounces of the board is the best method to get onto foil, because they've got a much higher takeoff speed and a higher stall speed. If you pump the board too much, they stall out. With a mid or low aspect foil, then you can pump the board quite vigorously up and down, as well as pumping the wing in order to get on foil. So to finish off, I'll just show you the same process from a different angle. This is with the GoPro pole swung all the way to my right. The previous clip was the camera on my left side. So I'll just show a series of still shots, each with a title, to summarize the process. But I think it's quite important for me to just briefly say that this is my preferred method. There are so many different variations of how to do this, and I'm sure other people will have their own preferred methods equally as good. The best method is the one that works best for you. So thanks for listening. I hope it's helpful, and any feedback, give me a shout and I'll do my best to send a reply.